Hello and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror film and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 1992's Pet Sematary 2, which was directed by Mary Lambert. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Eric, and with us again for his second appearance is James Boylan. James, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's great to be back. The first time I was on this show, that was my first podcast I did pretty much ever. I think like really the second one. And then from there, now it's been 3 years having my own podcast. So I'm here now as I feel like hopefully a seasoned.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, James, I mean, yeah, we've done a few podcasts together like a long time ago, James. I
Yeah.
remember we did one in my old apartment back in Eagle Rock.
Yeah, because I was doing this like kind of interview podcast. I was traveling a lot. So I was like, oh, let's just hang out and talk about some shit. Me and you, I just interviewed you once and we just talked about like a lot of I remember you were like, man, I'm bringing up old stories I don't even haven't talked about in years.
Yeah, I do remember that. I've listened to that, since we recorded, and yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And you're on Tunular, which is, the flagship show.
Well, speaking of which, yeah, before we jump into Pet Sematary 2, we want to hear about your podcast because you've been doing a bunch for a long time. So yeah, fill us in, man.
Like literally, I had nothing when we first recorded, and then like that week, I started totally Tunular. So since the last time we recorded, I haven't stopped podcasting. I credit you guys as it started the roller coaster.
Barking the love. I love it.
But yeah, Tunular was just a thing. I was watching a lot of cartoons and I was trying to make a cartoon that wasn't going anywhere, but I was still watching so many cartoons. I wanted to keep watching it. And, then it became a thing. I hit up my buddies like, hey, do you want to do this thing? And they were like, yeah, I'm down. And honestly, I was like, this is going to last like 10 episodes. And literally 2 weeks ago, we had our 3-year anniversary.
That's so sick. And you guys, each episode, you talk about a different cartoon, right? Like the whole season of a show.
Pretty much anything, and not just shows. We talk about movies, and kind of anything in animation too. Like we talk about claymation. Sometimes I like to cheat a bit, like we did the Guardians holiday special because it had like the two animated bits in it. So we kind of cheat around a bit. Normally we don't talk about anime, but we finally started getting into anime because we have like a side bit where when we talk about anime, the show changes to something called completely cartoony.
We've done Top Gun, which I don't. It's not horror.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary to be in those airplanes, but yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and we went from just being on Spotify to now like we live stream every week on YouTube, which has been super fun. It's been a whole year of
Oh,
me
shit.
figuring out how to do it, but now we've kind of figured it out. It's great.
Yeah, that's so sick. I remember I was on a long time ago for Futurama, and that was so much fun. I mean, you have like three co-hosts. They're all super awesome.
I felt bad, but my friend Ben fell asleep during the show.
I do remember that. Yeah, it was super late for him.
It was like really late because we had to push it back. So it was like your 8 p.m. So I think it was there like midnight because he was in
Oh
Tennessee.
God. Yeah. Oof. But they are very cool. So yeah, if you love animation, it's like a very, very in-depth show, and you guys cover everything. So it's really cool.
We try, yeah. So if you want to watch anyone out there, go on YouTube, Totally Tunular, on Spotify, Totally Tunular, every Saturday morning. I've never missed a Saturday morning since the first time me and you guys had a podcast.
That's awesome. No, that's cool, dude. 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats, man. Yeah, check it out. It's really cool, and I love your guys your logo too. All the animated characters is really cool.
Yeah, and we just got a new logo too. We got a nice little TV logo. We're getting there. We got a sponsor,
Oh,
Big Dan. He makes a bunch of great barbecue sauce. So everyone go check out Big Dan's barbecue.
oh, that's awesome, man. Well, congrats. And Eric, I'm a little disappointed you didn't introduce James as the Pet Cemetery 2 guy that eats, sleeps, and
Oh
brushes.
yeah. That's we were joking about that. You should have reminded me, Alec.
I texted you.
We're gonna be like, and with us is someone who wakes up in the morning, brushes his teeth to Pet Cemetery 2. He's watched it every single morning for the past 17 years. James, welcome to the show. And you just be like, what?
Yeah, what's crazy is like, yeah, I remember the first time you guys had me on to talk Pet Cemetery, and you guys were like, yeah, and I know you fucking love this movie, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I like this movie, it's good. But I had no idea, literally, until you guys asked me to do this, that there was a Pet Cemetery too. Like, I thought it was just Pet Cemetery and then the one remake.
I mean, the first one did pretty good. So I mean, this one, yeah, they crapped it out a couple years later.
Did this come out in theaters?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Let me walk through the stats real quick. So the first Pet Cemetery, April 21st, 1989, is an hour 43 minutes. Its budget was 11 million. Box office 60 million, so that's pretty good win.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Critic Rotten Tomato scores 55%, Rotten Tomato audience 60%. This one, the masterpiece that it is, August 28th, 1992. It's an hour 40. Its budget was 8 million. It made only 17 million, which is still like, all right, we made our money back.
Yeah, but
Critic scored 21, audience 31%. Huge drop off from the first one, no doubt.
I'm just gonna say this right now. I know financially it didn't do well. I know critically it didn't do well. I kind of like it.
It's not the worst thing. I'm not gonna knock it to
know what?
death.
I came around to it too. I think the first like 30 minutes, I was like, all right, is this made? That's why I was asking if it was put in theaters because the first like 30 minutes, I was like, this is made for like video, like home video. But then as it like just kept going, yeah, like we'll talk about, I guess, more into, I don't want to just go into the third act, but as it gets towards the end of it, I was like, all right, this movie's crazy. There's
Yeah,
a
we can get into the last part of it for
That's
sure.
that's exactly how I felt though, James. I was like, first hour's like, all right, it's fine, it's fine. The last 40 minutes, I was like, okay, okay, I love this. I love it.
You brought it back around.
So this is everybody's first time, right?
Yeah, at least my first time.
Yeah, and I streamed it on HBO Max, and I was like on it. I'm like, it says on the Google it's on HBO Max, and I realized that was in my daughter's account with Elmo and everything. I'm like, no wonder it's not coming up. I spent like 5 minutes, like it says it's on. Yeah, it was like the child's lock thing, and I didn't even realize until like way too late.
I was a little surprised it was on HBO Max. Like I said, I never heard this. So I assumed that it was gonna be on like Tubi or something. And I was like, oh, it's on Max. I was something about it being on Max. I was like, this feels
Max, they paid a penny or two for this one. There's no
yeah.
doubt.
Well, I mean, it's got like a decent cast. I mean, Clancy Brown, Edward Furlong coming right off of Terminator 2, and then you've
Fresh
got
off, fresh off a year later. So he was probably on the like Terminator circuit, like doing interviews and stuff while filming this shit.
yeah, and then there's also Anthony Edwards from Top Gun and the Revenge of the Nerds movie. So like the cast is there, the name is there. Stephen King is like, get my name off this.
See some producers that are just like, we're gonna make so much fucking money. You know? They're just like Pet Cemetery's the name. We got the hit. We got Edward Furlong off Terminator.
Fresh out of Terminator, yeah.
Nothing's gonna stop us. We're gonna make all the money. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys because I mean, maybe Dom would be the right person to ask about this, but I think this might be the first Stephen King sequel film, maybe, or Creepshow 2, I guess. But that's yeah, I guess
Was
kind of
there a Pet Cemetery book too?
no, no.
So it's like Jaws. Jaws was a book, and it's like it made a lot of money. Let's make a second one. It's like the shark's dead. It's like just make another one.
That's exactly what they did. But Stephen King doesn't write a lot of sequels to his books, but they make a lot of sequels to his movies. And I just looked up Children of the Corn 2, and that was the same year as this. So I'm trying to think, what was the first Stephen King film sequel?
Carrie, was it Carrie? No, that's sequel. I
No.
don't know sequel. No, I don't know.
That sequel came out, yeah, like the 90s.
I mean, I believe it's this.
It might be. I don't know. I'll have to look it up, but yeah, I can't think of anything else.
I mean, I'm surprised they would do more after this.
Yeah, they took a big hiatus after this one, and then they did the remake in 2019, and then they made another one, which I didn't even know about.
Which was pretty recent, right?
I just looked it up. It's a prequel, and it's about Judd from the first one in the 50s.
Oh, what a presence we're missing with Fred Gwen, the Herman Munster guy.
Yeah.
Missing his like, oh, can't go down that road, like kind of guy.
Yeah. Clancy Brown tries to make up for it with the main accent,
Yeah,
but
he tries to do the accent a little bit, but it's not there.
no, no. All right, let's give a little preview or walkthrough of the film, just like the beginning a bit. It starts off on a film set.
Yeah, I'm just remembering just the film set and what happens. So it's just like so cheesy. Yeah.
I have a question about this. So it looks like the movie they're making is Pet Sematary because they see like a wolf come out of like the ground or whatever, and so you're like, are they making a movie about the events of the first movie? But they like don't talk about it. Like they never acknowledge that.
This is pre-Scream, right? So no one's really kind of talking about movies like that in movies, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great point, Alec. You might be onto something.
It's weird though, right? Like I was like, okay, like here comes the animal out of the grave, and then all of a sudden they're like, cut, and it's a fake movie, and you're like, what the fuck movie was that they were making? But anyways, they totally brush over that. And it ends up that yeah, Edward Furlong's mom is an actress and they're on some set of some movie she's making. The parents are getting divorced. Edward Furlong feels responsibility to get his parents back together. So he's going on set to try and mend wounds. But then the mom dies.
Yeah, electrocuted like really terribly.
Like Home Alone 2 in the basement with Marv.
Like I was literally laughing.
I know it's so bad when you laugh, but it's like it's so like
And,
that's
and he's supposed to be sad. Also, what makes it really funny was that nobody was trying to like take her off of the fence. Like you just saw the grips and this ex guy just running around, their arms in the air, like, "Whoa, what are we, what? Everything's fucked. What are we doing?" And then she's just getting like nobody thought, let's just pull her off the fence, you know?
yeah, and they're like gonna blow us. They have like 18 freaking power strips connected to something, and it's like, can someone like mop up that puddle over there that's like right by it's terrible.
And of course, it's like the one day where she thinks about getting back with her ex-husband, you know?
Right. She gives her son hope. She's like, don't get your hopes up, but like,
Like and kisses
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Things are getting better.
James, you worked on quite a few film sets. I know you work for Troma, so like, I mean, this wouldn't happen, right? I mean,
I mean, worse things have also happened on film sets before, but yeah, but I mean, like, there's just no way there'd be that much water just next to these huge amount of electrical things. Like, that just wouldn't exist.
I also don't even think those the bars would be metal, probably. They'd probably be plastic.
Yeah, exactly. They would probably be plastic or something.
Yeah, so she dies, and then the dad, Anthony Edwards, is like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna take my kid out of LA. We're gonna go back to his mom's hometown and move into her, like, I guess.
You're missing the best part of the start of this movie is it goes directly from the mom dying, cut to a dog being put down. Like so it's like sad thing happened, another sad thing happened, cut to the funeral. I'm like Debbie Downer over here, this movie.
Okay, let me ask you guys about the dog. Here's the thing. He's like, he was very old. It's like they should have said he was very sick. Because like why? It's like maybe he's not even they just said he's old. Maybe he's not that
Yeah,
bad. I don't know. My pug lived until he was like 16, you know?
same.
That pug was like, dude, I can't believe
Still
wearing a
alive.
diaper.
No, I had a dog that lasted. She was a Yorkie. She was like 16, like late 16, almost 17.
Yeah, Eric, you too.
I had a 19-year-old dog who didn't die of old age. A dog came in our yard and ended up killing our dog of 19 years. It was a terrible, terrible day.
But damn, what a 19 years. That's wild.
Yeah, it was sad. I was like, oh, she should have gone like warm by the fire, and she went out like the worst way. But ugh, it's horrible.
Eric, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but your backyard kind of looks like it could lead to a pet cemetery.
It does. It does. If you keep going, there's a river back there, and yeah, dude, I don't go that far.
Would you guys have done that if you had a pet cemetery? Would you have brought your
I start with a hamster. I would like
Wait, but how would the hamster die? Like, would you kill it?
anything. It just died, and it's like, oh, let me see if it
I almost
works.
feel like that's like worse than having like a dog because at least I can see where the dog is. There's like this reanimated crazy hamster running around. Just
It goes up your pants and
yeah.
stuff, and like
Oh my
bites your
God.
wiener.
Dude, what if like you're sleeping and it goes down your throat and suffocates you? Oh my God. They
Oh,
should do that in
jeez.
one of these movies.
I mean, we're going off the rails already.
All right, but yes, it's very sad. It is very sad. But yeah, so they kill the dog for some reason. They're like, yeah, it's old, so kill it. Then they moved to Maine. So Edward Furlong and his dad, who I thought his dad was in his like 40s. His dad's like 30 in this
He's
movie.
from ER, right? Was he the guy from ER? He's a doctor in ER. Now he's a vet, right?
Well, he's Goose, dude. He's Goose from Top Gun.
I'm messing up. Is that him? Hold on. Keep going.
That's Goose. Yeah, he is in ER. Yes, he is, Eric. But it's Goose from Top Gun, and then he was Dr. Mark Green on ER.
I'd never made that connection that Goose was the ER guy or this guy. Wow.
I think he was third in this movie.
Dude, he's third. Well, let me double check, but dude, he was young as shit. Hold on. So he was born in 1962. Yeah, he's 30 in this movie.
Damn, man, people just always looked older.
Right?
Furlong's 13 in this movie at least.
Yeah. Yeah,
So he had this kid like fresh out of 16 and pregnant right there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so basically Edward Furlong and his dad are like, all right, we're gonna live in your mom's old mansion because like this is sick. Like it's kind of a fucked up situation. Like they were getting divorced and then they moved back into her like big house. Like what was going on in LA? Like was he like living in a studio about to get foreclosed on? He's like, listen, I think we should probably take advantage of this.
Like, he's probably like, yeah, jackpot. Screw her. Like,
Yeah,
got her house.
that's kind of what happened.
Who's got the house now? Like, that's probably what happened.
That is what happened.
They seemed like they weren't officially divorced, right? I mean, they've been separated, so I'm sure you got some Some monies.
Oh, it all goes to him and Edward Furlong, 100%.
Oh, dude, and the oh my God, you know that movie studio is getting sued to shit too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they're hooked up. So they're doing well, but they decide to move to Maine just to get away from the big city. Yeah, so then the dad's a veterinarian, so he takes over the old vet from the first movie's practice. And Edward Furlong goes to school and immediately starts getting bullied by who I thought was his friend from Terminator 2. It's not him.
Oh, that'd be great. I know that guy. He's in Salute Your Shorts too.
Yeah, I thought that was him.
In Terminator 2, he has like what, like kind of like the mullet
Yeah,
going.
the red-haired kid. Yeah.
Yep.
Who like saves the world by lying to a copy and like, I don't know him.
Yeah. So I thought that was him. It's not. It's just some other asshole. And yeah, why every Stephen
Stephen
King?
King, man, what happened to you in grade school, dude? Like who
Real.
hurt you? Show us on the doll who hurt you. Like
I want to see Stephen King's like, like Nickelodeon documentary. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, there's so many bullies in this movie. And they're always like, your mom's dead. Ha ha. It's like the meanest things in the world.
What does he call him? Like rich movie boy or something?
Move it, boy.
You move it, boy.
Hollywood is like a terrible thing to call him. Like your dead mom, actor girl boy. That's what you are. Like, what?
Yeah, so he's getting picked on really bad. His dad, when he takes over the practice, he finds a bunch of kittens in the
Little adorable kittens.
yeah. So Edward Furlong takes one, and he brings it to school. But before that, we actually meet Clancy Brown
Yeah.
and his stepson, who the stepson and Edward Furlong become like best friends. But Clancy Brown's the sheriff, and he's an asshole.
Dude, I love this scene with Clancy Brown because, like, when he walks in, he just goes, "Sorry about your mom. You know we used to bone, right, when we were younger." Like,
Yeah.
not like,
Right out the box. It's like, oh, this is gonna be something.
Yeah, it's like 100 years ago, me and your mama used to fuck. It's like, oh my God. That was pretty bad. But yeah, he's a real asshole right off the bat. But I will say though, I kind of liked how when the dog was sick and he said to his son, he's like, "You listening? This is your dog." I was like, "Ooh, I kind of like that. Like that, the kid should be paying attention."
kind of have that same thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the tale as old as time. Like, Dad, I want a dog. I want a dog. It's like you're gonna walk him and feed him every day, right? The kid never does that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
first had a dog. I was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna do all of it, and I didn't do any of it.
So like I kind of could appreciate that line, but otherwise he's a monster. But yeah, so Zowie is a dog who gets hurt, I guess, because of the rabbits. He's like his snout was in the rabbit cage and they teamed up on him. I'm like, really? Like, that's a thing? But I guess
Yeah,
the rabbits like mauled the dog's face.
I've never heard any rabbit mauling before.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I mean, the bullying scene was just crazy. Like they steal his kitten and they ride
Uh,
away with it.
But he makes that friend too. He's got his buddy now.
yeah,
Yes.
the Clancy Brown's the fat kid. I hate to call him the fat kid. I just don't remember
I
his
mean, he's the classic fat kid in a Stephen King movie. I mean,
Yeah, he really is.
who gets bullied as well? Who gets bullied as well? But we love him.
Yeah, he really does though. Gus. Oh no, Gus is Clancy Brown. What's
Yeah, I
his
kept
kid's name?
thinking his name was Gus, but no, Gus is Clancy Brown. Yeah,
Drew. Drew.
true.
Yeah. So Drew and Edward Furlong become friends and yeah, so they take the kitten to the pet cemetery and they act like they kill it, but they don't. But that's kind of where Edward Furlong learns about the pet cemetery. And it was kind of cool they talked about the first film a little bit. They're just like the
Yeah.
family and that was kind
Yeah,
of
I didn't
cool.
think it was actually going to connect that much because sometimes with these sequels they just kind of put a number two and they kind of do the same thing, but they don't really like talk about what happened before. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think they'd bring up the Creed family, whatever, like at all.
I like when it switches gears and it doesn't like rinse and repeat.
100%. And it was kind of good because I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's the same director as the first one, which is kind of like you wouldn't expect that.
Said this one's the same director as the first movie.
Yeah, it's the same director. So, which
Oh,
is kind of crazy.
that is crazy. I didn't weird because they feel like totally different movies.
Exactly. Yeah, this one's like so off the wall, but I kind of like that. Like the director like was just like, you know what? It's almost like you've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I love that movie.
It's kind of like that. Like it's the same director, but he's like, let's just not do the same thing again.
Yeah, let's get real weird because even this movie had a soundtrack. I was like, I don't remember
Oh,
that being in the first movie, like this kind of soundtrack at all.
dude, thank you for bringing this up. Like actually like the soundtrack. I feel like it's a big part of this movie, especially because of when the movie came out. Like
Yeah.
super grunge.
Oh, very grungy. Yeah. I mean, what Edward Furlong's he's wearing like a flannel the whole time, isn't he?
Everybody is. Everybody, it felt like this was like a Nirvana music video that was like, all right, cut. And then they're like, all right, what are you guys doing after this? Like, that's kind of what it felt like. But dude, the song where Zowie dies and it's just like, I see you fading away. It's like, dun, 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 dun. I was like, this
Well,
song
at
is
first when I
insane.
heard they showed the sign for the Creed family, I was like, is that a nod? They trying to talk
To the
about Creed right
band.
now, but I was like, no, that was from the first movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like
The music in this movie was nuts.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I love, especially the Zowie death scene. That was my favorite part of the song. In
There's a
that.
driving scene at one point too where it's like, I wanna die like Jesus Christ and smoke cigars on the roof and dun, dun, dun. I'm like, what is this song? It was so bad.
It was like, yeah, it was like a lot of like reject grunge early 90s music, but I kind of liked it.
It's the ones they could afford.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah. But I don't know. I think the music adds a lot to this movie because it does feel like MTV early 90s like
Yeah.
reject songs.
No, for sure. They're trying to reach them kids.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, the music and Clancy Brown, those are the things that really make this movie for me.
Clancy Brown is amazing. That guy's in everything, and he's just the man.
Such a versatile actor. I mean, the fact that he's Mr. Krabs, like that's so crazy to me.
Right. He's Mr. Krabs, and then he's also like I don't know if you guys saw the last season of Dexter. He's like the big bad in that movie, in that season.
Oh yeah, he's like a doctor guy, right?
Yeah.
Or
Like carving up bodies
yeah.
in the basement and like turning him to wax spoilers. He's like turning him to like wax figure kind of things.
Damn, I'm just going through his IMDb. He's in Flubber.
He's in Flubber.
I'm pretty sure he has a part in Small. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he has a part in Smallville because we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And John Wick 4.
Yeah, I'm looking at all this. He is a bouncy ball, this guy.
Yeah, he's got a really, really long career. And this is one of his first kind of like starring roles, I guess.
I mean, he looks pretty young, so I'm assuming so.
Yeah, he's definitely in his early 30s in this movie, which if you look at like him and the dad are supposed to be like the same age, and you're like, kind of feel
No.
like, yeah. All right. But his character is such an asshole for the first like half of the movie, but like, dude, he just decks these kids like crazy. When on Halloween when they're all in the cemetery,
Yeah.
like he just comes in there and just backhands his stepson. I mean, he murders the bully. I mean, that scene I was not
When he was
expecting.
possessed, but before that, the dog scene, he was going to have sex with the mom, and then the dog starts barking. He's like, ah, that doesn't. He goes out and shoots the dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And the mom just stands there. She's like, come on, Gus.
I
It's
was like,
like,
oh my God. Like, that
Yeah.
is horrible.
and he's the police. So what are you gonna do? You can't call the police.
This is in Maine too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. There's no one else. It's just him.
He's the only law around here.
Oh my God. So yeah, so he kills the dog. I mean, also that line was just like he takes the food off the kid's plate. He's like, I thought we were working on your flabby ass. It's like, oh my God. This guy is brutal.
I know, because that was like right before that's when Drew was like, "Man, I wish my dad would die." Right?
Yeah, and he literally and Edward Furlong said this line, and I was like, that's kind of fucked up. And he was just like, you shouldn't say that about your parents, even if it's your dad. And it's just like, why even if it's your dad? Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't both the parents have equal value?
It's his stepdad, though, right?
It is, but he said the line before he knew it was a stepdad. So he was implying that like you can say that, but like you shouldn't say it about your mom, but like you probably shouldn't say it about your dad either. Like that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, your mom. That's a line. That's a line you don't cross.
Even if it's your dad, it just felt weird. I was like, that's
Yeah.
a strange. It's the same thing with the dog line. I was like, don't say old, say sick. It was just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple lines like that. I mean, the acting's not good in this. Edward Furlong's not. He's not Terminatoring it up in this one.
Honestly, like this kind of gets going ahead too, but like I think you could take Edward Furlong out of this movie, and not a lot of it changes.
Yeah, I think you're right, dude. Especially like a little bit at the end, like his complete character motivation just changes on like a dime. Like, I mean, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna go dig up my mom and do this, even though I have like 9 examples within this movie showing that this pet cemetery will lead to something bad. I still am gonna do it.
James is right. You could literally just focus on the chubby kid and the dog and the stepdad, and that's the movie. But
Yeah.
instead, it's like, no, there's a dead mom too. And
Yeah.
the vet who's like, oh, why does this dog not have a heartbeat?
Dude, think about it. Think about it. What if
Yeah.
they just bring back like what if the fat kid's dad, like his real dad was dead and they're like, I'm gonna bring him back sort of thing. Like yeah, get rid of Edward Furlong.
Yeah, like that's like yeah, that's when the movie got interesting when when it started focusing on Drew and then the dog dying and then all that Pet Cemetery shit. Everything with Edward Furlong was kind of like whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I didn't think about it. You genuinely do not need him at all. Oh God. This character too, I forgot. Like right when Edward Furlong and his dad get to their new mansion, they get this like housekeeper that just comes in.
Oh yeah. And then she starts like boning the dad at some point.
Does she?
Right away, almost. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So another weird line is when she's like, "What is it?" He's like, "I don't know. You look different than you sounded on the phone." Like, what the fuck does that mean?
I
Like,
mean, yeah.
Terrible script. That's what it means. Like,
Like I feel like there must have been some scene that was cut out where they were like got together and they just were like, or it's somewhere in the script writing they were like, nah, they should be together, but left the intro in there of her as a housekeeper for some reason. Like it doesn't, like, I don't know,
yeah.
it's so weird because yeah, she comes as a housekeeper and then later Edward Furlong is yelling like, "Oh, you're not my mom."
How much of that line reminds you of Terminator 2, Eric, when he's just like, "You're not my dad, Todd," and then this one, it's like, "You're not my
I
mom."
know. It's the same thing. So the producers are like, this is jackpot. We have John Connor doing the same thing again. This movie's going to make so much money. Back to James's point.
That's exactly what it is.
All this money they thought they were gonna make.
What if the last line is when he kills the bully? He goes, "Hasta la vista, baby," and he just puts the thing in the zombie's mouth.
Ah,
The thought probably came up at some point while filming or in post production, no doubt.
They're like "Hasta la wega." They like try and make it different.
yeah, change it slightly.
Oh God. All right. Well, let's get to the best part of the movie then, I guess.
Wait, one more. You can't just go around burying your pets in the pet cemetery. Why? Because you can't. Why? Because you just can't, okay?
Oh my God. Like seriously, you're probably not too far off. The producers are like, "Listen, I think we can pull this off. We changed a couple words. I think we can pull this off."
There's no crossover with like production companies, is there? Do you guys have any idea?
I have no idea. Yeah, I feel like whatever company owned this probably went out of business. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get another Pet Sematary movie until like what 2021.
Oh, dude, it was Paramount.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess Paramount, yeah, I don't know. They have a couple flops in the early 90s, like bad. All right, so the last 45 minutes is basically Clancy Brown does kill Drew and his mom. And like I didn't really like that they died, but I also didn't like that they didn't get brought back. Like, I don't know, but I guess it didn't really make sense.
Like they killed them off just because they're at some point they're like, wait, this movie's about Edward Furlong. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to switch the narrative back.
Yeah, you're probably right, because it felt like it came out of nowhere. They're just like, yeah, you have him get like hit
Oh,
by like a potato truck or something.
their death scene, awesome. I will like the way it's edited. Like you see the mom get like impaled for like a second. Like the editing is great in that shot and that whole like sequence. I really liked it.
Oh shit, I didn't notice. I just saw like the blood dripping down her leg at the end, and I'm like, oh, what's up
Yeah,
with
that part was a little cheesy, but like I love because the editing of it, like you see the car hit the other car, then it's like a close up, and you see the mom kind of started getting impaled. Like I didn't like freeze frame it, so it's probably some sort of dummy that's getting impaled. But you
that?
see her like kind of like getting impaled, and then you see the truck like flatten, and then all the things fill into the car to like really be like, oh, they're squashed.
Yeah, they're like, listen, they're definitely dead. Like they're not coming back. Yeah, so that was I don't know. I didn't like that they got killed that way, but Gus gets away. The dad has a couple dreams about having sex with like a hybrid wolf ex-wife thing, and then he decides he's gonna go figure out what's going on, so he kills Gus and finds out that Gus dug up his ex-wife.
The Gus house when they walk into that house and it's just blood everywhere. Because also remember before he was carving up all the fucking the rabbits that
Yeah.
he was complaining about the dog about earlier. He was just fucking skinning them. And then yeah, and then I love when we go inside the house and the dad walks in with the gun and then just blood everywhere. Like he's like stringing up more rabbits.
Dude, it looked like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. It
Yeah.
was animal corpses everywhere, shit all over the floor. And I mean, he's clearly, yeah, he's like a zombie, but the zombie logic in this movie is a little weird because it's like they can drive.
He's still horny.
Yeah, they're horny, they can drive, they still eat, but like it's weird.
They're still decomposing almost, right? Like they're still
They're dead. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't talk about my favorite shot in this because it happens like right before this. Is right before he leaves to go to the Gus's house. He's like fantasizing. I guess also the pets have like weird telepathy powers, which I don't remember that being a thing in the first movie. But like the dog is like getting into the dad's head, and then the dog is like he's like fantasizing banging his ex-wife, and then you see like boobs open up, like he like, opens up her dress, and it's like he's like, "Oh, your boobs," and then he looks up, and then it's the dog's face on just the
Yeah,
naked.
No, I forgot about that scene. I think my brain just deleted it because it was like, you don't need to retain this.
dude. It's like that scene in Jurassic Park 3 when he falls asleep on the plane and then like it's the Velociraptor head.
Ellen.
Yeah, it's like Alan. Like it's literally like that. But yeah, but they like have sex and he's like, fuck, I gotta go dig my dead wife's body up and put her in the pet cemetery. Like, right after that dream. He's like, all right, it's time.
My favorite Clancy Brown line is from when the dad walks in. He's like, "Why did you dig up my wife?" And he goes, "Because I want to fuck her one more time."
Yeah, just straight up. He's like, I wanna fuck her.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he had a lot of good lines in this movie. But yeah, so the final fight is at some house. I don't even know because it's not their house, but it's on
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah, I didn't get where that whole attic came from. Was that in any other point in the movie that I just don't remember?
No,
That this is where the movie goes off the rails. Yeah, because Edward Furlong is just like he's like, all right, now I'm gonna go dig up my mom, and then I'm gonna try and put a dress on her. But we have no reason why this just randomly happens.
but I'm gonna dress to impress too. I'm gonna wear my
So
nice
I
suit.
thought Gus dug up the body. Was it not Gus?
It was no, it was Gus, but I don't. But he went to the cemetery too. It was like
Yeah.
weird. I don't know.
They're like working together almost. I lost it
They
there.
were they were working together. It made no
You killed
sense.
my best friend. Now we're gonna work together.
Yeah, yeah. So then, yeah, we have this big final scene where the mom comes back and she just spouts off. So I'm like, "Dad is better," and then lights on fire and dies. And the bully, for some reason, the bully comes back too.
He had also some good lines. He was like, "Oh, I'm coming to get you. Oh,
But
look out for this."
he literally walks in. He's like, "Wanna play?" It's like, okay, okay.
His death was one of my favorite. I will always remember his death. Like when he
Yeah,
stuck the
like
electric cord
yeah.
and it just blows up.
Yeah, and then basically the movie ends with Anthony Edwards like, all right, I guess we're going back to my studio in LA. Let's go. And they just drive away.
The part I did like too is the mom when she's like melting. She's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Dad is better. Dad is better." That was pretty cool. I like that.
It was. It was.
Now she was melting. Like it cuts to like a skeleton that's kind of just like dangling in the flames.
Yeah, special effects definitely got downgraded in this one, but it was stylized. It had some cool
Yeah.
moments. I like that the director was the same. Like that really added some stuff. Like the music and love Clancy Brown.
How about the memoriam on the way, like driving, like the last shot with like the oval like
Yeah.
pictures like, cycling through? I literally laughed out loud. I was like, "What are they
Yeah.
doing?"
I was like, "What's going on?"
Like, through the arms of an angel. Like
I wish they put like their name under it. Like how long they were alive for. Like the dates.
Yeah, that would have been really good. Ah, shit. Well, we got to wrap up, unfortunately. But yeah, Eric, you want to spin the wheel?
yeah, spinning the wheel.
Yeah, I can talk about this movie forever.
Ever, forever, forever. Ready, spinning. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Alec. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What is it?
Jeepers Creepers 3.
3.
Uh-oh.
Damn, that's a rough one.
Thanks, James.
We might do a super episode. We'll talk about it because I know we have Ryan Baldessario coming back, so maybe we should just do a 3 and 4 like combo episode. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, this guy actually has on his LinkedIn profile Jeepers Creepers expert on his professional dashboard on his like resume.
Oh shit.
I'll have to send it to you.
But yeah, Jeepers Creepers 3, not very good. I like the first two, but yeah, 3 it's tough.
Yeah, I've never seen him, but I've heard everybody kind of has that impression too, James. But James, thank you so much for coming back on. I'm sorry we're a little rushed today, and we definitely want to have you on sooner. Maybe we could do the remake.
Dude, let's talk about more pets. I honestly never got through the remake. I only watched like the first 10 minutes of it. I know I didn't really like it very much, to be honest. But I'm down to talk about it. I'm down to re. But also, this prequel movie that I had no idea existed.
We might have to do the prequel. I want to know about Judd and how he, came to be. Anyways, everybody, thank you very much for listening into our episode today on Pet Sematary 2, and we will see you all next week with Jeepers Creepers 3.
Woo!
Yeah, that was awesome.